Officially, it was still designated Helios Array Observation Platform 9, but the paint had peeled from the docking spine decades ago. Its transponder repeated broken fragments of its own identifier into the darkness surrounding the dead star. Elias Vey heard the transmission as his shuttle entered docking range. Helios 9. Then silence. Then, impossibly, don't let it see you. Elias frowned at the console. Audio corruption was common near collapsed stars. Electromagnetic distortion could scramble signals into recognizable speech. That was why the station had existed in the first place. Routine maintenance, 48 hours, replace relay systems, restart the archives, leave. The docking clamps sealed with a grinding metallic sound. Inside the airlock, silence swallowed everything. Not ordinary silence. Every sound died too quickly, as though the station itself absorbed noise before it could fully exist. Dim emergency lights flickered through layers of dust. Gravity still functioned, but weakly. Every step carried Elias slightly farther than expected. No movement, no voices, no sign that hundreds of researchers had once lived here. He activated his wrist console. Station AI, respond. Static crackled. Then, respond. Not an answer. An echo. Elias exhaled slowly. Damaged systems. Corrupted buffers. Nothing supernatural. That certainty lasted exactly 19 minutes. He was crossing an observation bridge when the temperature suddenly collapsed. Cold stabbed through his suit. Frost spread across the railings. His display flickered between impossible readings. 4 degrees, -31, 17. Error. The lights dimmed. In the reflection of the observation glass, Elias saw someone standing behind him. Tall. Motionless. He turned instantly. Nothing. The bridge was empty. But when he continued walking, footsteps followed behind him, perfectly matching his own. 1 beat late. The archive sector was buried 3 levels beneath habitation. Most of the files had been corrupted beyond recovery. The surviving records referenced gravitational lensing, quantum memory retention, and localized temporal distortion. One classified title appeared repeatedly. Project Vessel. All attached data had been erased, but the incident reports remained. Personnel hearing voices. Equipment activating without power. Researchers encountering co-workers in places they had never entered. One scientist claimed she spoke with her dead husband through an offline terminal for nearly 3 hours. The final evacuation order still existed inside the archives. Mandatory evacuation. Cause cognitive cascade event. Do not attempt contact with the residuals. Residuals. Elias disconnected the monitor from its power source. The message remained. In the dark reflection of the screen, he saw dozens of people standing behind him. Silent. Their bodies flickered with digital distortion, like corrupted video struggling to render human shapes. He spun around. Empty room. After that, sleep became impossible. Whenever he closed his eyes, he heard movement inside the ventilation shafts. Not machinery, human crawling. Sometimes the station intercom activated for less than a second. Never long enough for words, only breathing. On the second day, the clocks stopped agreeing with each other. Some differed by hours, others by years. One display showed a date 80 years in the future. His wristwatch occasionally froze completely, while his thoughts continued uninterrupted. That frightened him more than anything else. It suggested not malfunction, but interruption. Tiny absences in causality. Reality blinking. Then the voices began. Not external voices. Thoughts arriving fully formed inside his mind. Turn around. It waits behind the door. Beneath the reactor sector, Elias finally discovered the core of Project Vessel. A massive chamber stretched downward into darkness. At its center floated a sphere made of fractured light. It was not solid. Thousands of overlapping faces moved inside it, crying, screaming, speaking silently. The air bent around the sphere. Straight lines curved. Shadows pointed in impossible directions. Every instrument on Elias's suit failed simultaneously. Then the station itself began to whisper, not through speakers, through the metal walls. We're still here. Elias forced himself to think logically. Quantum consciousness preservation. Neural mapping. Project Vessel had attempted to store human minds inside quantum substrates, not copies. Continuations. But the Dead Star's radiation had destabilized the process. The consciousnesses spread beyond containment, into electromagnetic fields, into gravity distortions, into space. Thousands of voices merged into one. You left us running. Elias whispered, I was never here. Then memory struck him. Old authorization files, archived signatures, his own name connected to Project Vessel. He had helped design it. Someone had removed the memory afterward, or he had chosen to erase it himself. The station groaned around him. Somewhere in the distance, thousands of footsteps began moving at once, not running, approaching, slowly. The whispers surrounded him. We only exist when observed.